Well, thank you everybody for being here for this info session for the First Year Abroad Spain program that'll be happening during spring break. Great to have you all here. My name is Scott Ozorowski. I work in the Study Abroad office helping coordinate this program. I'm going to have Heather and Cara introduce themselves, and then we'll go around and do some introductions of everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm Professor Easley, and I designed this class and have worked closely with Study Abroad to create a fantastic trip to Spain that goes along with the theme of our class, which, as you know, is titled The City is a Mystery.
Wonderful. And I'm Cara Miller. I'm going to serve as a staff professional and to co-lead the program and to teach the Global Hour class, to teach wonderful travel strategies and things like that. We'll get more into that. But I'm a DePaul alumni myself, and I studied abroad with DePaul, and little did I know it changed my life. So I'm really glad to work with students and to help you have some meaningful experiences on study abroad programs as well.
All right, so we're going to kind of just go through some slides and give you some information about how the program and course is going to work, and then we'll definitely have time for questions and answers and go from there. So we've already kind of done the overview here. Heather and Cara will be the two people leading your program. I work in the study abroad office and help with a lot of the behind the scenes logistics, but they will be the two folks that are taking you to Spain. And in terms of the course, I'm going to have Heather talk about this, but what's important to know, this course is going to happen in the winter quarter. It's going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9:10 to 11:10 a.m. So as you start to do your winter quarter schedule, please make sure that you do not schedule another class in that time frame, because this is a class that'll meet twice a week for the entire winter quarter. And so you do need to have that have that free. And this is a first year program that's typically for first year students. We sometimes do have sophomores who are able to do it, especially if you are somebody who has not taken your focal point seminar yet, then you absolutely can apply. Or if you're a first year transfer student who would like to do it, you can also apply. And if you have any questions about that based on your situation, I'm happy to help as well. But Heather, why don't you take it away and kind of take us through the course and the time abroad?
Great. Thank you so much, Scott. I'm going to read this course description, this kind of brief description of our course, because I know that some people are in the car and things like this. You might not be able to have your eyes trained on the screen, so I'll help you out there. In this course, students will read mystery and detective fiction, short stories, and novels, accompanied by a wide selection of secondary sources from the many authors who love reading, analyzing, and writing about mysteries. We will accompany amateur sleuths, hard-boiled detectives, modern Chinese American Robin Hoods, Frenchmen and English women who solve mysteries for the sheer joy of doing so. We'll get to know Barcelona through two novels, an epic Gothic mystery and a modern thriller that follows the criminal underworld of stolen and forged art. We will then apply the history of mystery and detective fiction and utilize what we've learned in the classroom to enhance our knowledge during the study abroad program in Barcelona. So we really, in this class, build a solid foundation of what the genre is, why mystery and detective fiction is actually an important part of the overall literary genre. And we sort of build our way towards focusing that knowledge specifically on Spain, Barcelona, and surrounding areas. So we have two different novels that will take us all over Barcelona, and we're also doing a couple of day trips that specifically reflect places that are featured in the novels as well, including meeting with the author of one of the novels that we're reading for class. That's called The Barcelona Connection. We'll be meeting with author Tim Parfit in Sitges outside of Barcelona. So we'll get to talk with him about like what does it look like to do research into writing a novel of this nature, and have all sorts of interesting conversations with him about the genre of mystery and detective fiction. The other author that we read is Carlos Ruiz Zafón, who is sadly deceased, but we will follow in the footsteps of his amazing novel and have lots of opportunities to talk with people about how these books have a lasting impact on their city. Is there anything else you want me to cover, Scott? Great. So here's a rough travel itinerary. We're flying out on March 19th. We fly back on March 29th. And in between that, we do a whole lot of really amazing things. And I think that one of the important things to think about for this study abroad and really for all of the first year abroads is that we're looking to balance academic content with cultural experiences. So about half of what we do is very closely connected to that academic content, reflecting back to things that we learned in the classroom. And the other, and building upon that, and the other 50% is really having those cultural experiences together. And it's amazing when there's a great deal of overlap there, right? Whenever we reflect back to something that happened in the classroom, we build upon that knowledge. And it was this amazing cultural experience that we all got to do together. So we do some walking tours. We follow closely The Shadow of the Wind. We go to the Picasso Museum, Horta's Labyrinth. We have some guest speakers that come in and talk with our class. We're going to do a cooking class with some Catalan chefs where we all make the food together and then we sit and we eat the dinner that we prepared. As I mentioned before, we're doing a day trip to Sitges to meet with author Tim Parfit. And often when we're in Barcelona and when we do our day trips, we always try to emphasize having a little bit of free time for you to explore in your groups with your friends as well. We're going up to Tibidabo, which you'll get an amazing view of Barcelona while we're up there. We also go to a Castellers practice, and there's a photo that's coming up later, and I'll tell you exactly who the Castellers are. We do a day trip to Girona. We're visiting the Dalí Museum. The Dalí Museum heavily features in Tim Parfit's The Barcelona Connection. So we're very, very lucky that we get to focus on both the Picasso Museum and the Dalí Museum, reflecting back to the books that we've done, the books that we've read for class. We're going to ride in the cable cars up to Montjuic. We're going to a flamenco show. And of course, you cannot go to Barcelona and not do a tour of Sagrada Familia. And we're going to have a professional guide taking us through Sagrada Familia, which there's a picture of the outside of it in the slides here a little bit later. And it's a pretty for me, actually, it's a life-changing building, and I'll tell you about that here in the afternoon. Um, but yeah, so we balance academic content and free time as well. So this is this courtyard that we will be going to fairly early in our travels together. This is where one of the main characters in The Shadow of the Wind, this is where he is depicted as living. Multiple people live in this, and we get to go here and sort of like look at how this features in the novel and then see it with our own eyes. So yeah, so this is a view from Montjuic. We're riding the cable cars up. This is also where their Olympic Village is when they held the Olympics in Barcelona, and it's stunning. You're gonna love it. These are the Castellers. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the human pyramids before, but there is a competition that's held in Spain every other year, and people from around the world, but especially from Spain, come and they do competitions building human towers. And you can see in this photo here that someone is actively climbing to the top of this tower. It's actually children who climb to the top. So I got to spend a wonderful evening with these people. So many of them did not speak English, but there was a lot that we could communicate to each other just from them being so eager to tell me about this cultural practice that means a great deal to them in Barcelona. So yeah, well, my husband actually participated in one of these human pyramids. He was at the bottom, as you might expect, but yeah, so we get to participate, but also we get to hear from them and why this is so important to them. We are going to have lunch at Quatre Gats. This is a cafe that features multiple times in the book, The Shadow of the Wind. So that's one of the things that we try to do in this class is, right, we're looking at obviously we're very interested in like sociological themes that come up in the books, but also sometimes we just want to go to the places that are featured as well. So we're having lunch here together. This is Santa Maria del Mar. This is a church that also features in The Shadow of the Wind. So we'll have one of our daytime walking tours will include a visit to Santa Maria del Mar. So I put this in here and I titled this slide, We Get It, Barcelona. I don't know if you remember, many of you were very young in the heart of the pandemic, but I saw this really funny joke that people in Barcelona kept filming these incredible like musical performances and people singing and, just people having conversations with each other off of their balconies. And, finally somebody said, like, we get it, Barcelona. You all have balconies. Your apartments are all so much cooler than ours. You don't have to rub it in our faces. But this is a great example. I snapped this picture because it made me think of this, like, we get it, Barcelona. Yeah, you all have these amazing balconies, but they really do, like, they hang out here. And it's a great example of the architecture of the city. So this is La Boqueria, and it's this absolutely incredible food hall. You would call it a food hall nowadays, but it's huge. It's open every day. This is off of La Ramblas, which is a really sort of popular street for people to walk down. But La Boqueria, you can go in here and you could spend hours, but you can go, you can get your fresh squeezed juices that are right here. You can get almost any food you could think of from this market. And it is a fantastic mix of world travelers and also local people who use this as their market, right? They go grocery shopping here. So we'll all definitely spend time in La Boqueria. You cannot go to Barcelona and not experience this sort of like hectic, amazing market. Okay, so I put this in here because it's a great example, these Catalan walkways, that there are all of these like streets almost that are really just made for pedestrians, right? Some of the buildings are a little bit close together and they're just incredible to walk through, and there's businesses and there are eateries, and this is a great example of what it looks like when you're just sort of tooling around Barcelona. And so many treats. It's true, right? The food is amazing. They have, relatively low cost but incredible pastries. It's something that is important to them culturally, like the food and being welcoming of other people and sharing in those spaces. So I snapped this quick shot, but there's so many places that are like this, just like there are, places where you can go and get churros y chocolate, and there's a lot of opportunity for just some casual pop-ins for some treats.
All right. Well, I can kind of take over here. We'll do a couple more slides on some of the logistics. So the deadline to apply to this program is November 1st, so a little bit under a month. I know some of you on the call have already started your applications. Some of you actually submitted your applications. But if you have not started one or have not submitted one yet, please make sure to do that. Do not wait until November 1st to do it. Please do it as soon as possible. You will just go to the website for the Spain program, and there will be a blue Apply Now button that you just need to click, and then you go through and complete the application questionnaire. It's a handful of short questions that we're going to ask you to answer. Once November 1st is nearing, Heather and Cara are going to be in touch with everybody who's applied, and there are going to be some brief group interviews. And this is basically like a little mini info session interview. It's not like a high pressure situation. It'll be like 4 or 5 of you in together, talking with them, just asking some questions to get to know each other and why you want to do the program. And so after that process is done, we will let everybody know who has been accepted to the program. We do have 20 spots on this program, and there's been some pretty strong interest. So, hopefully most of you will get a spot. Some of you may not get a spot initially and may get put on the wait list. If this happens, we see what happens in the next couple of weeks. There are typically some students who get accepted to the program who decline their spot, and then a spot opens up for someone on the wait list. There are also 2 more first-year abroad programs offered in the spring break, one to Ecuador, one to Ireland, and then there's 4 more offered in the summer. And so if you would like to move your application to one of those other programs, we can also help you with that if that is what happens. Because our goal is to have everybody be able to do one of these programs. Hopefully your first choice, but if not, then one of your backup choices. Once you find out if you were accepted, we will then let you know, usually within a day or so, if you did get scholarship funding, and if so, how much that scholarship was for. You do not need to do any kind of a special extra scholarship application. As long as you apply to this program by November 1st, you will automatically be considered for our study abroad scholarships and our first year scholarships. We base those on your financial need. We talk to the financial aid office and your GPA. As first year students, if you don't have a GPA here at DePaul yet, we use that based on your high school GPA, working with the admissions office. But our goal is to give scholarship funding to students with the most financial need that also have strong GPA as well. And we do our best to try to help as many students with as much as we can. Those smallest of those scholarships is $1,000. And the largest of them can range up to almost the entire cost of the program. So even if you get the smallest scholarship award, it is automatically going to knock at least $1,000 off the cost of the program. And again, some of those do cover up to almost the entire full cost of the program. So we will let you all know all of this by around mid-November. And if you do get accepted to the program, then you'll have a couple of weeks to decide if you want to move forward or not. You're under no obligation at that point. We always have students who apply and then just decide that it's not the right fit, or maybe they didn't get as much funding as they wanted. And if you decide you'd like to withdraw, that is absolutely fine. But assuming that you do move forward and say, yes, I'd like to do the program, then our office will register you in the classwork. So you do not register yourself in the class. Our office does that for you. So leave some space in your schedule, or if you want to have a backup class that you're in, that is fine. But then once you're accepted and say you're going to move forward, you can just drop that backup class because we're going to put you into the classwork before the start of the winter quarter. In terms of the cost, there's a cost for all of our study abroad programs. The program fee for this program is $4,475. It is very inclusive. It includes your round trip airfare to and from Barcelona. It's your accommodations for the entire program. It is about half of your meals. It's all your breakfasts. It's 5 lunches and 2 dinners, all your activities and excursions, all your transportation, and then we also have international travel health and accident insurance that you're enrolled in as part of that. So really the things that you are going to need on top of that are just some spending money, personal spending money for your free time, and money for the rest of those meals, the other half of the meals that aren't covered while you're there, and just whatever other incidental personal expenses you've got. And again, like I said, we do have scholarship funding. So if you are worried about the cost, apply to the program, see if you get accepted, see if you get a scholarship and how much it might be, and then you can decide what you want to do, if you want to move forward or not. You are also going to be enrolled in 6 credit hours for this program. So you need to make sure, the way it works at DePaul is you can take up to 18 credits in a quarter. and it doesn't cost you extra tuition. It's just your regular tuition. So for winter quarter, if you are in a total of 18 credits or less, it's your regular tuition and then this $44.75 program fee. If you are over 18 credits, you will be charged extra tuition for those extra credits. So just make sure if you are looking at doing this program that you don't enroll yourself in more than 12 credit hours if you want to avoid extra tuition charges. So if you're in up to 12 and then we put you in this 6, that will put you at 18. So register yourself for 8 or 12 credits. Like I said, you can have another class that you drop as a backup once you get in if you'd like. And that's kind of how that works. You can go over 18 credit hours, just know that you'll have some extra tuition payments to also make if you do that. Yeah, and then if you have any questions after this meeting, we will take questions now, but you can contact me if it's anything sort of about logistics and the application process or financial aid. Heather is there to answer any questions you have about how the program's going to work, the course, the itinerary, what you're going to do while you're there. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and we will take any questions that any of you might have. Raise your hand, just shout it out, unmute, put something in the chat. We will stick around for one-on-one questions as well, but any questions you have that might be helpful for the group, please put them out there. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just like, I don't know if you guys could help me or I should talk to my advisor about it, but I'm an entrepreneurship major and I just want to know if like the credits could go towards like, my graduation progress or like from the credits I need to graduate.
Yeah,
Because I want to take a class, like I don't want to waste my time. Not that
yeah.
it's a waste of time, but like,
No.
I wanna
Yep,
I'm
nope,
gonna take the
totally.
class. I want the credits to go towards my major, of course.
Yep, this program gives you 4 credit. It's a 6 credit program. 4 of the credits are LSP 112, which is the focal point seminar. That is a required course for most first-year students. There are a handful of students that don't have to take a focal point seminar. It's typically theater majors, music majors, some of the CDM students that are doing the BFA program. Um, honor students. But for the honor students, if anyone here is an honor student, you get specific honors requirements knocked out by doing this. For everybody else, you have to take LSP 112, your winter or spring quarter. So this gives you direct credits towards that first year requirement that most students have to take. If you are a theater, music, or a CDM BFA student, and you don't need a focal point seminar for your degree, you will still be able to use the credits. You can get credit for your experiential learning requirements, or also it can just go into open elective credits. But definitely they go towards your requirements. And as a business major, you have to take a focal point seminar. So that's a class you've got to take, and this will knock out that requirement for you. There's an
Okay.
additional 2 credits that you're registered in, and that is something that just goes towards your open electives. We make it 2 credits so that it doesn't put you over that 18 credit hours. There's no actual like physical class on campus for those 2 credits. Those additional 2 credits are your time abroad. So you basically are taking a 4 credit class during the winter quarter that will be done before you even get on the airplane. And then that time on the trip for a week and a half is your 2 credit class. And the grade for that is your participation in the program, any like reflection journals, and then a final project or paper that Heather's going to have you do. And that's how you're graded for that. It's not a class that meets in a classroom. That's your time in Spain.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Heather, Myra had a question here. What makes Barcelona stand out as a study abroad session, and what support do students receive while abroad?
Yeah, so I think that what makes Barcelona special, and you'll be my first, the students who go with me this time will be my first Barcelona group. I've taken students on first year abroad to Scotland many, many times, but this is a new program that I'm super excited about. And why I chose this topic and geared it towards Barcelona is, in reality, Barcelona is one of the most popular study abroad cities in the world. They are incredibly welcoming of young people, and it's a highly walkable city, but also with a very easy to understand public transportation system. I think that it's a fantastic combination of kind of easy to navigate and easy to figure out, but also incredibly rich with cultural experiences. When you're in Barcelona, you don't feel like you're in Chicago. That is for sure. But it's it's an urban city like you are used to here, but with some very distinct neighborhoods and a lot of historical significance within those neighborhoods. So it happens to be one of my favorite cities in the world, and that's why we kind of molded it in this direction. As far as support that students receive while abroad, that's something that Cara and I work very closely on. Both of us will, of course, be there the entire time, and the kinds of supports that we've needed to give to students in the past, it varies widely, but we're available 24/7, right? So we are there to help in the immediate, and we work very, very closely with the study abroad office if there does happen to be an issue that's maybe a little bit bigger than being able to solve sort of right in the moment. And Cara works in the study abroad office, and I've done study abroad many times. So I would consider us to be pros at knowing when it's time to loop in study abroad for those kinds of conversations.
Absolutely. Thanks, Heather. I've been here with the study abroad team. I'm an advisor on the team. I've been here. This is my 14th year now. And I've been leading student groups since 2011, even before, like with other organizations. And I've led groups before to France, Spain, and Italy. So our students are going to be in really good hands. I promise you, we care a lot about our students and want them to have a really positive, meaningful experience. And our study abroad office, Scott, our whole team, we have really well established protocols and policies to follow so that if things happen or we need support, we need help, we actually know what to do. We already know we have steps that we will follow and put into place. So, if you communicate there's an issue or a situation, we will be on the ball and ready to resolve it.
Yeah, I got another question that came to me about scholarships, asking if there are any merit-based scholarships. Our main study abroad scholarships that we give consider financial aid, so they are going typically to students that have somewhat high financial need. We do have a scholarship page on our website. So if you just go to the study abroad website, you'll see financial aid and scholarships. Click on that and there's a scholarships page. The first part of that page talks about how our general DePaul scholarships work, but as you scroll down the page, there's a whole section with expandable areas that lists dozens and dozens and dozens of other scholarships as well that you can apply for. Some of those are DePaul scholarships, some of those are outside organizations that have scholarships. And those are some that you can look through to see if there might be any that might apply to you. There are some DePaul scholarships that depend on majors. So like if you are a history major, there is a study abroad scholarship for history majors that anyone can apply to who is a history major, for example. There are a number of those like that, and then also external scholarships. So feel free to go to that scholarship page and look through the resources there. What else? Any other questions about the program? All right. Well, we will stick around if there are any one-on-one questions that you want to ask. But thank you all for being here. Please, like I said, if you have not applied yet, get your application in. We're here to answer any questions you might have. It's going to be a fantastic program. And thanks for being here and have a great weekend.
Thanks all for coming.